You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz. For great radio, get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Defenders of American Exceptionalism on the Lanterns Radio Network. My name is Dylan Lyles, and I am joined tonight with a very special guest, my boss, my dear friend, Jonathan Dunne. John, how are you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, brother. Thank you so much for having me on.
This is going to be fun, man. I got the boss sitting in the chair across from me. This is going to be good stuff right here. It's either going to be
and you may or may not be fired by the end of this.
Exactly. That's what I was getting ready to say. This is either going to be an amazing success or I'm going to be unemployed when this is over with. So this is either way.
And we're taking bets on this, folks. So, if you want to join in on the fun, if you want to get a hashtag trending, fire Dylan, hashtag, get that trending. You want
Dylan.
Save Dylan. Get that hashtag trending as well. And, I'm not going to say this because we can't legally say this, but, if a brown envelope should happen to turn up at Lantern's head office, to go either way, that could influence decisions.
It could. I don't think I could get it there fast enough, but it could. So, folks, we got an awesome show planned for you tonight. What we're going to do tonight, John, is going to be so kind in helping me do, is we are going to discuss Syria. Everyone is so excited about Syria, and I feel that in theory that I to start this conversation off, because it's going to be very serious, it's going to be very, very poignant. It's not going to be quite jovial as it usually is. And so because of that, I feel it is my duty to at least start it off with a little bit of humor. That way, we can at least kind of giggle for a second and listen as, I don't know why. Every time I hear war, I think of Rush Hour. But in this moment, I figure it to be slightly apropos to go into the discussion of Syria. So, what is it good for? Who knows? There we go. We can't play more than the 30 seconds. There, we're done. I'm not getting a letter. Okay. So as everyone is fully aware, we, and then I say we, I refer to Trump, decided he wanted to bomb, he didn't bomb it, he missile attacked, Syria. I don't know how I feel about that, to be perfectly honest with you. And that's what we're here to discuss about. We're here to discuss that. Is it right? Is it wrong? Good or bad? He sent missiles to a target that was supposedly where the gas weapons, the chemical weapons. Let me get my wording right here. I'm still kind of a little upset about the whole situation. To backtrack it a little bit, there was a chemical attack on Syria. Now, to my knowledge and my understanding, nobody knows. We're still kind of in the dark of whose fault it was, who did it, who's responsible, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But Trump decided he wanted to attack the spot that it was housing these chemical weapons. And so, I don't know. John, you're going to have to help me out with this one, because there's a lot about this that I'm not very keen on. You know what I mean? I mean, in case you weren't aware, I'm a veteran. And
no, really?
Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird? The thing about being a veteran is I see it from the other side, from the war side of things. So I don't know. I understand We just don't have the facts to go on it. And what's bothering me is all these people have already pick their sides. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I just...
Yeah, it's very clear if you've been watching social media or you're watching some news organizations. It's very much in line with, if you support this president, it's a good thing. If you don't support him, it's a bad thing. A lot of people are forgetting what Donald Trump himself has said on Syria and about President Obama and him bombing Syria. That seems to have just totally gone out the window. And you know, there's a lot of interaction. It is very much a cult of personality world we live in. And if you like someone, it's good, and if you don't like it, it's bad. And you know, from an outsider's point of view, and I've been pretty vocal on social media about this over the last couple of days, and I honestly haven't said whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I've just pointed out certain things that are missing, and the frightening thing that's missing for me is there is no talk of the Constitution.
Nope. And
constitutional powers. And I know that's one of the things you want to discuss today.
Yes.
And it is very, very troubling that the right are no longer talking about the Constitution.
No, we don't. You're not hardly hearing the Constitution. And this could be just me. But since Trump's come into the picture and become president, you're not hearing a lot of any bit of the Constitution, which is already troubling to begin with. Like I said, when you throw in this situation, I understand through the War Powers Act that technically, the president could turn around and send troops out. He can do a strike, he can do an attack, he can do whatever, but he has 48 hours to basically talk to Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Call me naive and ignorant, but if you attack a sovereign nation, which in this instance, I mean, you justified or not, that's not the argument right now. The argument is in a broad spectrum, you have a president, who unilaterally will attack a sovereign nation. The damage is already done. What is going back to Congress going to do? Seriously, what is Congress going to do? Say, no, we're not going to do anything now, and let whatever country come back and retaliate? Of course not. So isn't that kind of like a cheap shot? Isn't that kind of like I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of an unfair move. It's like a behind the back kind of trick to get what you want out of it. Am I wrong on this?
No, I think it's one of the things that's scary, and I've seen a lot of people say, because I brought up the Constitution on many social medias over the last couple of days, and I've seen the War Act of 73 been trumped out as saying that this is constitutional. And the question I've asked everyone, and I've only got insults in return, is which is more important? Which, basic 101 of American politics. What document? Let me ask you the question.
Okay.
And let me ask the people the question at home. What document supersedes the Constitution?
I would say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no. If for someone like myself, technically the Bible would do that.
Well, legally.
Okay, now that you're going to say legally, no, the Constitution. That's it. No case laws, no nothing. It would be the Constitution, pure and simple.
Absolutely. So then, why does an act of law passed in 1973, especially when you understand the history of it, which was to sort of impede and to stop Richard Nixon? Why is one law superseding now the Constitution? So then you delve into the Constitution and you actually read the Constitution. Article 1 is very, very clear. It gives the power to Congress to declare war. So let me ask you a second question for those out there who are listening, kind of going, you know what? I think the War Act of 73 is the justification. Let me ask you a simple question. Regardless of who's in the White House, this is not about Trump. This is not about Obama. This is not about any personality. This is about the Constitution, the document your founders written. Article 1 is very clear. It's about the powers given to Congress. Article 1 says Congress shall declare war. is at any point legally, if you understand the spirit of your founders and the spirit of your constitution, can a body, whichever body, give up its power? So if the Constitution says, hey, Article 1 says Congress should do this, this is your role, can Congress then turn around and go, well, you know what, we're going to give up that role?
Constitutionally, there's nothing that says they can. However, obviously people give up their rights all the time. You know what I mean?
But does that make it constitutional?
No, I don't think so. No. Because nowhere in the Constitution does it say you can do that. You know, the Constitution says that Congress has the authority. It doesn't say, oh, and under these circumstances, or if Congress doesn't want to do it, they can pass the buck to somebody else. Because that's really what that boils down to. Is because then Congress can turn around and point to whoever is the president at that moment and go, oh, look, see, they did it, because it's easier to lambast one guy than it is to save their skin so they can have election next time. That's to me, that's all that is. It's just a way to shrug responsibility and own up to your constituency when you go back home. Well, I was going to, but the president did it, and there's nothing I can do. Give me a break.
Absolutely. And also, what's troubling about this is, again, this is not about Donald Trump. One of the things I have witnessed over the last, we can make a short-term case if you want to go over the last 17 years. And by the way, in case you think this is an anti-Trump thing, I said 17. So there was Trump, Obama, and Bush. So I'm hating on all parties. You have seen Congress abstain from their powers. You've seen Congress give up. And you've seen which way do you see the powers going? Do you see the powers going more towards the executive or towards the legislative body?
Yeah, it's going more towards the executive for sure. Unfortunately, now, I feel like we're progressing towards a monarchy almost. Mm-hmm. That's really what it feels like. Mm-hmm. We're giving.
Now, you said unfortunately? Why did you say unfortunately?
Because my understanding of history is monarchies they have the potential to be good, but there's that chance of being really, really, really bad. I mean, look at Britain has had, up until, I guess now they still technically have a queen, but monarchies, you have a single flawed human being in charge and dictating the lives of everybody underneath him. He doesn't know their circumstances. He's not living in their circumstances. He doesn't know what's going on. It's virtually what's happening now. The only problem with it is now it's, 500 and however many people are in the Congress and Senate, and then you throw in the one of the president right now. It's doing the exact same thing. They're not listening to any of us. They're not caring about they're not even dealing with us on our level. They're just sitting here saying, here's what we think you need, and this is what's best for you, i.e. Obamacare, i.e. the atrocity they tried to pass as the Trump care, Ryan care, whatever the hell you want to call that. That's exactly what all that was. And I'm sorry, I come from, you don't tell me what to do if you're not here to see what's going on. You know what I mean? You don't have an input on my life, on how I should be doing anything, if you're thousands of miles away and living a completely different social life than I am. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It just,
and as an outsider, one of the things I try and do in the best way I possibly can is I'm not here to insult anyone. I'm here to try and remind you of why America was a great nation. And one of the reasons is there are many, many reasons. We could do, I've said, I could honestly do probably a week's worth of shows of 24 hours a day telling you all the reasons your country is exceptional. But one of them is the framework of your government, your constitution. I'm going to throw a term which is never thrown out anymore. 3 co-equal branches of government and checks and balances. That is incredibly powerful. That you had 3 different bodies. Mm-hmm. You had the legislative, which is 2 bodies. It's the House and the Senate, but they're elected different ways. Now, I'm old-fashioned. I'm old school. I believe in 2 years in the House, elected by the people, but also that the states get to elect the senators. I'm one of those old-fashioned, wacko birds who actually believes that was a good thing. But then you had the presidency, and then you had the judiciary. that is incredibly powerful. That is one of the foundational stones that helped you chart the course you've charted over the last 240 years and make you an exceptional nation. But it seems to be that there are many people today who either don't know or don't care or don't want to know about why three co-equal branches of government is such a key thing, and why checks and balances are so important. Because if you don't have them, you can swing from far left to far right. And I don't mean that in an American term, I mean that in a European sense. And that is kind of what's happening. And we need to be the voice, and that's what we're trying to do at Lanterns, be the voice to say there is another chart, there is another course.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's just so difficult to sit here and watch people just get so... I almost feel like watching sheep. You know what I mean? And I'm not to make anybody, talk bad about anybody. But like you said, no one knows this stuff, or they don't care, and I don't really know which is worse. Is the ignorant side of it worse, or is the decision to knowingly go, yes, and I don't care? You know what I mean? I don't know what... I don't know. It really truly makes me sad, and all I know is from where I'm sitting, we have to dump into our kids and try and teach this stuff to them, because otherwise we're not going to get anything. You know what I mean? This is going to die a horrible death, and we're going to turn around and end up being like, Europe. God help us all, or...
Absolutely. I never want to see that happen. But as bad as the reaction has been, or as frightening as the reaction has been about the Congress, we're going to talk about international norms in the next segment and the European response to this. And I'm going to try and keep my cool, because I've wanted to bite my tongue. I've been biting my tongue all day when I've been seeing the European reaction to this, because it's incredibly hypocritical if you remember what happened under George Bush and the Iraq War. I have a baseball in my hand, and I'm prepared to use it.
Oh, this hopefully doesn't come to that point, guys. We are going to take a break. You are listening to Defenders of American Exceptionalism on the Lanterns Radio Network. Welcome back, everybody. You are listening to Defenders of American Exceptionalism on the Lanterns Radio Network. My name is Dylan, and I'm joined tonight by Jonathan Dunne, sitting over here, hanging out. We're talking war. We're talking Syria. Talking principles and Constitution. Kind of wonder where that's been all these years, right? Oh, I'm telling you guys. I don't understand why. The thing that I talked to John about this earlier today. The thing that gets me is just how quick this whole thing went down, and how quick not only was the line drawn in the sand, and I hate to use that phrase because of the last administration, but as quick as the line was drawn, just how fast everybody just kind of fell to their respective sides. And that to me is the craziest part about it. And it doesn't matter what facts have come out. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter. It's all been. Here's the line of demarcation in the sand, and everything just kind of fell in their place, and no one is moving, and it's crazy. What happened to my country?
Mm-hmm. There's also a strong sense of hypocrisy in Europe.
Oh yeah, just in
Just
Europe,
a smidgen.
just a tad,
Mm-hmm.
teensy weensy bit.
So can we get into the international norms?
But I'm sorry. What did you say?
International law and international norms.
What are you, a globalist now? You globalist? Are you a globalist? You're
No.
you part of the pedophile government? You the guy that
No, but
turns the water, makes the water turn the frogs gay.
No, I think my frog is gay. I think, if I brought my frog to the vet the other day and he told me my frog was transgendered, homophobic, or trans. What did he say? I'm trying to think of all the words now because my vet just said a load of stuff I'd never heard before. My vet said my pet frog George. George is a cute little pet frog. He's nice and green, and he goes ribbit. He is a transsexual, transphobic, homosexual, gay, lesbian, female frog.
Wow.
I have no idea what I should call him. Georgina, what I should do.
Georgette.
Yeah. He was gender neutral as well.
Oh, of course he was.
He had all these things.
Of course he was. And don't tell me he didn't identify as a frog either, did he?
No, he didn't.
Or she. Was it a she? I get confused.
The funniest part was then we brought him to the psychiatrist after that because I thought after all those words he had problems and he needed it. And the psychiatrist told me, he's got a bigger problem. He doesn't identify as a frog. Inside him, he thinks he's an elephant. And I said, it's 2017. It's fine. He can be whatever he wants to be.
Get a job and pay bills. I don't care what you want to identify yourself as.
Absolutely.
Identify yourself as employed.
My little pet frog, George, I don't know whether he's gay, straight, what sex he is, but apparently he thinks and identifies as an elephant. And, I was told by my European government that said if I broke it to him that he really wasn't an elephant, I could be put to jail.
Oh, well, now.
So
we don't want that now, do we?
George. So, and the only question I can think of is I've never seen a green elephant.
I haven't either. To be perfectly honest with you, but this is
I've also never heard an elephant going ribbit.
I haven't either.
It doesn't quite sound the same.
I haven't heard of a homosexual, pansexual, anything that
transphobic.
Gender
questioning.
I'm so tired. I am so tired of all of this. You're going to get me started on something I didn't want to get started on.
Neither do I. Can we get back to being a globalist?
Please, yes, I think we're going to need to, because otherwise I'm going to lose my junk, and only one of us can lose that right now. Somebody has to walk the other one off the pier.
You know what? I'll just give you this. I can't wait till George has his first date with a female elephant. That is, you know what? I cannot wait to see those two go to prom.
It's either going to be really sweet or really awkward.
Yeah. Do you know what? The picture I have of George in my mind is. Do you ever watch Shrek? Remember when Donkey went with Dragon?
I see that. I can see that actually really well.
Can you imagine when little George the frog, or now identifying as the elephant, finds a female elephant and goes to bed? I hope she doesn't roll over. or else George might be dinner.
Pangender, transphobic frog identifying as an elephant was found dead this morning. Rolled over by its own lever. Get off of this subject. Stop. Okay, go back to being a globalist, please. It's so much better, because then I can do Alex Jones, and everyone loves Alex Jones.
We do we? Okay, I missed that memo.
So someone's not checking their email.
Oh, okay. Well, what can I say? But yeah, let's get back to Syria. So the one thing that's really bothered me is the European response to this. So whether you like it or not, we live in an international community, and they're what we call international law, and every civilized nation has not only adopted and embraced these laws, but they're the way the world works. And we need, the last time I checked, conservatism wasn't about anarchy; it was about limited government. So if you look under international law and international norms, there are 4 reasons you can attack someone. And I'm going to give the 4 reasons to you, and you can tell me if the attack in Syria was one of these 4 reasons. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Lay it on me, slugger.
Okay. The first one, and usually the most popular one, you are responding to being attacked.
Oh, wait, so you're saying that somebody attacks me first.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically, this is self-defense. Okay.
No, well, it's more a response than self-defense.
Well, but
the second one is self-defense, which we'll get to in a second.
Okay. All right.
So you have been attacked. Physically, you can say, this happened.
You're retaliating.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Is that apt for this case?
Let's see. No, I don't recall Syria being even a territory of the United States, so no, the answer to that would be no.
Okay. Second one.
Okay.
A preemptive strike. You have credible evidence that something big is going to go down, which you can prove, and you are fearful for your home nation, and...
You mean like we are with North Korea?
That would be a great example, where they have threatened to nuke you. But we'll come back to them in a minute.
Yeah.
Is there any credible threats that Syria has put to? And it has to be credible.
I'm going to have to say no.
So, like, if I say tomorrow, hey, you know what, I'm going to do certain things to America, I'm not actually going to make the threat in case the NSA are listening.
Yeah.
But if someone like me came out and said, I'm going to do stuff, it's kind of like, he's an Irish guy.
Yeah, really.
He's just not getting into the country. So it has to be credible and realistic.
Yeah. No, I can honestly say no, that that doesn't pertain to us, because the only actual act was done, the chemical attack was done on Syrian people. And again, Syria is not a territory or any part of the United States. So the answer would be no.
Okay, so we're 2 down. So we've got 2 left.
We're 0 for 2.
Okay, so let's cross our fingers.
One of these.
Okay, number 3. An ally of your country has been attacked, and they are responding, and they ask you for help.
See, there's a lot of qualifiers in that one. Now, I could say, arguably, to my understanding, Syria is not an ally of the United States. I could be wrong. We may not have anything against them per se, but I do not believe that Syria falls under the actual, air quotes, ally group.
No, but have they attacked an ally?
Well, but that's what I was getting ready to say, is they haven't... Well, no, I was also spinning it to them attacking themselves. But no, they have not attacked an ally. Again, they attacked their own people, or at least that's, again, what's rumored to have happened. So no, we're now 0 for 3.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh. I'm not feeling good about this, John.
Uh-oh. It's the bottom of the 9th. Bases are loaded. You've struck out 3 times. It's all or nothing, baby. And this is the one that makes me lose my mind about my European friends and family. I'm going to try and stay calm for this one. Number 4. A set of international norms of law have been broken. And they have violated a set of conventions. Wait for it. Wait for it, because there's qualifiers.
I'm trying.
And it has been brought to the United Nations.
Oh my
God, has been
no.
held. And they have implied and voted for action. And then you go and act. Did any of that happen? Now here's why I'm going to lose my mind, and I'm going to say this as coolly as possible. So both François Hollande, the Prime Minister of France, I'm a Frenchman.
Oui, oui.
Oui, oui.
The crumpet and the escargot.
I'm a Frenchman. My favorite word is oui, oui, oui. I go oui, oui all the time. Oui, 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 oui. And
nasty.
And the dull and boring Angela Merkel.
Is it all right? Hold on, pause for a second. Slight sidebar, and I've always wondered this: is it actually Angela or is it Angela?
Angela.
Is it Angela? Okay, sorry.
Angela.
I figured it was German. It couldn't remotely sound attractive at all. It had to be something. There's just,
I just hope my little pet frog George finds a nice elephant called Angela. Can you imagine that? Angela.
It sounds like an elephant name. Go ahead, though.
Angela
I'm sorry.
Merkel.
I didn't mean to. Angela Merkel.
Yeah, no, it sounds so feminine, doesn't it?
That sounds like someone you want to take to prom.
And they have come out and said this was needed.
Of course they did.
And they have supported this, which makes me want to. Whether you like, you see, this thing, I don't support. This is not me about supporting someone or defending someone. This is about calling truth and fact and principle. Mm-hmm. So Germany and France are for this attack, even though America wasn't attacked. Mm-hmm. It wasn't responding to a present danger. It wasn't defending or attacking or been asked by an ally. And it didn't go in front of the United Nations and get the Security Council and get a resolution to vote on and get legal action. They will defend this.
Yep.
Yet when George Bush actually went to number 4 for the Iraq war in Afghanistan and actually got the Security Council to say, yes, if they do not comply, you will have this vote, you can go in and act. And for the last 10 ever-loving years, I have heard George Bush is a war criminal. George Bush was this. Even though he went through these very same actions for international law and norms, and now all of a sudden they have the audacity, the humility, the gall to come out and say, well, we're for this attack. This was needed. Mm-hmm. Are you? I can't say the word I want to say.
No, you can't. We're live and I don't have a delay. I can tell you why, though. I can tell you why. We've got like 3 minutes, and I'm going to tell you why in way less than that. Do you want to know why they were all for this? And this sounds so horrible. This is going to sound so dirty, and I'm going to get so many letters for this. But I'm going to tell you why. Do you want to know why, conveniently, France and Germany were all about bombing Syria? So then that way there would be less refugees trying to come into their country that they're not going to tell no to. And that sounds bad, but I guarantee you, that may not have been the primary thing, but somewhere in the back of one of their minds, that was one of the reasons why they were like, oh, sure, let's do it. Because then America can get in trouble and there's less people coming into their country that they can say no to. I'm telling you. That was a reason. May not have been primary, but that was a reason.
Oh. I have honestly, it's a miracle. God, thank you for this. I have a tongue because I have wanted to bite my tongue. I've been watching, oh yeah, we totally support this. This is totally fun. I'm like, where were you 12 years ago, 14 years ago, 16 years ago? Well, I lived through the George Bush presidency.
I was going to say, Merkel wasn't there under Bush, was she?
No, yeah, but she was around. Oh. But the French country and the French government.
Oh no, I know that. But this is 2017, man. This is the age of hypocrisy.
I know.
That's all this is.
You can't get on the air when you're not a hypocrite. You can't get elected.
You can't do anything without being a hypocrite, apparently, because that would require you to actually go the opposite way. Would require you to, I don't know, have principles and a standing and yeah, I know. Funny thought. I hear
it's almost like you can't be pro-life and for the Constitution at the same time. Would have been one of them.
No.
I heard someone said that once.
Who that does sound...
I have no idea. I just I heard it somewhere. I was going to say
you can't be throwing quotes like that around and not having a valid source. What's wrong with you?
No, I just heard it somewhere. I read it somewhere online.
Because we know you can believe everything online, right? That's
absolutely,
of course,
absolutely.
It works for Alex Jones.
It sure does. They're the international norms, and that's what we have to abide by. And it's the thing that bothers me is if on both sides, on the Constitution and the UN, if you want to have a set of standards and you don't like them, change them, or at least be honest and be intellectually honest. Because I heard we have to be intellectually honest. Is be for one or the other. Be for them. If you don't like the rules or you don't want to be for the Constitution, fine. I have no problem with that. If you come out and admit it, I'll respect that. Yeah. But don't wrap yourself in a constitution or international norms and then turn around and go, well, actually, you know what? I'm okay with it this time.
Yeah, it's funny how they turn around and make it fit for themselves, man. Folks, we're going to take another break. You are listening to Defenders of American Exceptionalism with Jonathan Dunne on the Lanterns Radio Network.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
And welcome back, folks. We are the defenders of American exceptionalism on the Lanterns Radio Network. I am joined tonight, my boss, my dear brother, Jonathan Dunne. We're having fun tonight. We're trying to talk. I've figured out we're trying to talk each other off of ledges, which is weird when, you know, I feel like sometimes we're like the only principled people like walking around. Is it just me?
I know there are a few others. We're lucky at Lanterns. We have a good few principled people.
Oh yeah, no, we do. But that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like the last of the Mohicans. You know what I mean? Like there really is not a lot left, and it's
no.
I don't know, man. There was a point in a time where it was not this difficult. People may not have spoke out. People may not have made a big scene about things, but in the end, everybody was principled, and it's gone, man. It makes
those days don't come back.
No, they don't. Regardless of how much you watch John Wayne movies, you're never gonna get John Wayne to come back, man. I was watching some of those the other day. You want to talk about waxing nostalgia? And I'm an '80s kid, and I was like all excited about watching, John Wayne from the '50s, and
I'm an '80s kid too.
Yeah, I
remember those days. They were good days. Remember those days? Those days don't come back. But let's not bum people out.
No, they don't come back. I was going to say real fast. Just this has nothing to do with any bit of our topic, but I figure I'm going to try and get a little bit of silliness thrown in here real fast. You will never believe what I was watching this afternoon on Netflix.
Oh no!
I was watching the animated Ghostbusters cartoon.
Wow!
Do you remember that? Oh, the minute I seen it on there, I got tickled pink because I used to sneak around watching that because
they were good.
It was good. I liked it. I was very young.
Pity they really screwed the franchise up what was it, last year when they brought out Melissa McCarthy?
It could have been good if they had done it the right way. If they had done that movie from like say that was the daughters of the original guys and kind of had another story, all right, that would have been great. The problem I had with that movie was that's not the case. What they did was they turned around and said, "Oh no, this is the original," and they just threw it as girls in there to fit the the sexual quota or whatever, the gender quota, which is weird because gender is not supposed to be a thing anymore. I don't know. I'm confused.
You're not the only one. And they also lost a lot of the libertarian message of the original Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. There was every last bit of that movie was. I mean, you want to actually watch a libertarian movie and actually see, wonder what a world would be like under libertarian principles. Go watch the original Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. It's amazing Hollywood actually produced that, because they would not produce that show today. Oh dear God, no. Oh dear God, no. And it's because what did he do? He turned around and he put a mortgage out on a farm or a double mortgage out on there, and they started a business that became highly successful. And
they hated the EPA.
And the EPA was the same thing just like it does for everybody else. It's the bane of every small business owner's existence. Mm-hmm. They're going to come in and ruin everything with their rules and their regulations, and nobody catches that stuff now. And if they do, they go, "We don't talk about that."
No. EPA good.
Watch La La Land instead. It's much better.
No, thanks. I think I'll pass. People always say to me, I'm a Glenn Beck stooge. Glenn Beck is wrong on La La Land, and I haven't seen it, but I know he's wrong on La La Land.
I'm sorry. I just can't get past the title. That's just me. I can't get past the title to even give it a chance. So it might be a great movie. I can't.
Have you ever Have you ever had a date with your wife going, do you know what? We saw a great movie last night. Oh, really? What did you see? La La Land.
La La Land. I don't know, though.
That sounds like you stayed in bed all night and you went to sleep.
I don't know, though. I have to say, and I love my wife dearly, and I know she may not be listening live, but she will hear the podcast of this later. So I'm throwing this all out here now so I can preemptively keep out of the doghouse. But there was a stretch there for a while where we would go to like the Redbox or something and rent a video. And it actually gotten to a point for a while. I had to ban her from picking out the movies because somehow or another she would pick the worst movie. And I'm not talking about, from a guy's perspective, oh, it's a love story kind of. No, I'm talking about horrible. Even she's going, what the hell am we watching? But because she committed to it and picked it out, she stuck it out to the end. I'm talking movies as dumb as like Labor Day. Have you heard of this movie? Have you seen this movie? I don't know how we got on this, but just it is a movie that makes literal no sense at all. Escape convict shows up in this lady's house. They instantly fall in love. He hides out in their house for 4 days. They're on the verge of getting married and running away together. That's literally the movie.
Was there a meatball sub in that movie?
No, but they did make pie. They made pie.
Was it a meatball pie?
No. I thought it would have been better if it was a meatball pie, but I'm telling you. And so so there was a stretch there for a while where she was no longer allowed to watch or to pick movies because I'm telling you, there's a section of my life that I just can't get back. And I love her dearly. And she has redeemed herself. I will throw that out there. I'll make that clear to everyone. She has redeemed herself. But there was some humdingers, boy. I'm telling you. That's
good because I'd hate to think of you sleeping on the sofa tonight when she listens to this show.
I know. I'm sitting here realizing that I'm tasting more and more of my foot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, shut up.
The damage is done.
Quit while you're ahead. This is God speaking. But we should get back to...
Yes, let's get back to like serious stuff because being grumpy and borderline suicidal is more fun.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the stuff. People didn't tune in to listen to us talk about Goatbusters and meatballs and that type of stuff.
No,
we've got to talk Syria.
You're right.
So, the question I've got, and I actually would love to address this, and I'd love to ask you the question is,
sure.
So we've talked about, the Constitution and the international law standards, even though we're a lot of, what are we called? What's that word? The G word that we are?
Where's, it's slipping. It's right there on the...
Come on.
We're good. Oh wait, sorry.
No, that's not it. Come on,
not the right word.
Come on, you can do it. I know you can.
Come
on, boy. Come on, boy. Let's go.
Now, see. Now I forgot the question because I'm actually imagining you throwing a treat at me. This is.
I'm throwing a big fat juicy meatball.
I know, right? I know. All right, please repeat the question.
No, it's okay. The moment has passed, but we're all globalists now. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, that's right. But you can't. You have to globalist. You have to
globalist.
You're talking about your voice. Oh, it's like Sling Blade, but a little bit deeper.
So you're obviously a veteran.
Last time I checked, yes.
Mm-hmm. You tell people often enough.
That's right.
It's like, hey, I'm Dylan. I'm the vet.
I'm the vet. No, I'm not going to look at your dog or your gay frog.
Hey, could you talk to George?
I'm not that kind of vet. I'm not licensed.
So we've talked about the Constitution and the international law and norms. Mm-hmm. What way would you have handled this situation?
Oh, you really are trying to get me fired, aren't you?
Yes.
It's fired or lose what few people listen, that's for sure. I don't know, man. I would not... Personally, from where I'm sitting, and it might be my own fault. I'm not 100% aware of the details of the chemical attack in Syria. Okay, I don't know if they figured it out yet or not. So if they have, I've missed it, and I apologize for that. But from where I'm sitting, I don't know who. There's still a question of who actually did it. Was it actually Assad? Was it somebody else? I don't know. I don't think, me personally, it's not a matter of thinking. I know I wouldn't have. I would not have rushed this fast to have a strike like that. I wouldn't have. I know that for a fact. I like to think I would have erred a little bit more on the side of caution, and at least to figure it out a little bit more confidently. Okay, well, who is actually responsible for the attack? And again, they may already know all this stuff and not have told us lowly folk. But I want to think that I've, I would have taken it a little bit more, I don't know, the laid back, just because you're talking about war is not something you mess with. You know what I mean? You don't just frivolously throw that around, especially when when you're American, you have our reputation. People already think that we're warmongers to begin with. So my view is let's not give them a reason to go, yes, you really are. And unfortunately, I think Trump did that. I can see where the Trump people have come out and said, well, there's a new sheriff in town and he's making a point. I see where you're coming from, and within a loose form, I technically will agree with you. Or I can understand. Let me just say, I don't know if I agree, but I completely understand where you're coming from, and I see that. I don't know if it was the right thing to do, though. I don't know. It's one of them things where I don't think just because you can doesn't mean necessarily you should. You know what I mean? Just because I don't know. Just because you can use the War Powers Act to do whatever, see, I got jumbled there for a second. Just because you could do the War Powers Act to do this attack and do this retaliation or whatever you want to call it, because you can do that, is it the right thing to do? That becomes the whole other question. Because to me, and this is purely my opinion, and again, you can call me what you want to, most people do, but this is just a low-key version of what everybody on the left was saying about him having, the nuclear codes. And he's going to get pissed off, and he's just going to turn around and he's going to bomb a country. Well, theoretically, yes, everybody can argue that what happened with the chemical attack is a warranted thing and should not have gone without an answer. I will give you that, yes. But to just turn around and just go, boom, and make it happen. And, might I add, while he's sitting there face-to-face and laughing and yucking it up with the prime minister or the president of China. I mean, this was all happening when they were sitting there, talking and coming up with whatever stuff they were doing, probably talking about Korea. So I don't know. Again, if it was me, I would have taken my time a little bit more. I would have waited a little bit more, just because I don't. War is not something you just play with. It's not something, even if you're trying to prove a point and I don't know, earn your reputation back or what have you. You still, that's not something, I mean, you're talking about life and death there, literally. And that's, you can go in, look, General George Custer went into war with the best of intentions, and look how that turned out. You know what I mean? It just because you go in there and do it, people die, and it's not something you can come back from. So, that's where I'm at. What would you have done? You want to play that game? You tell me.
Well,
yeah.
The first thing I get told I am, people use loads of labels these days. I believe in your Constitution, and I believe in the principles of the nation you were founded on, and I think they're very good, and they're tried, tested, and true, and they work.
Yeah.
There was no imminent danger.
No.
So what I would have done is this might shock you. It's the first time I think I've ever uttered these words in my career in radio, and all the hundreds of thousands of words I've written and oral I have said. I'm going to say something for the first time ever. I would have followed the Constitution.
Wait a minute.
I know it's breaking news on your show.
Why didn't you warn me this in advance? I'm not ready to Twitter this out or nothing.
I know.
Dude.
Someone like me talking about following the Constitution, this is rare, isn't it? It's like I never talk about this. I've never uttered those words before.
I'm literally falling out of my seat in shock.
I know, it's a horrible thing. I would have followed the Constitution and would have made an address to Congress, and would have made the case and said, look, whether you like Assad or not, this is the attack, this is the evidence, and obviously I understand because people say, well, you can't release everything because it's confidential. Okay, well, you can release some of the evidence because there's news articles out there, and make the case to Congress. That is what you're supposed to do, and then make the case. And I would ask this question to anyone who says, well, you're just a constitution, you just get things in the way. Can you tell me who would vote against this?
Oh, yeah.
And if they did vote against it, just take the principles. Let's just put principles like, let's just play the political game and say, well, you know what? Chuck Schumer would obstruction you. Are you telling me, just forget emotions, right or wrong, just pure politics, are you telling me Karl Rove and all these great spin doctors who are supposed to be just wonderful tacticians and just so good at their jobs would not have a field day going, these are innocent kids, you voted no?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
is that not something you could beat over the Democrats' head from 2018, 2020, 2024, 2028 for the next 50 years? That you voted
easy.
No.
Next 50 years, easy.
Yeah. That's all. People, if you want to follow the Constitution, that's all you do. Follow the Constitution. Make a thing. And if the GOP says no, well, you can then at least have some, again, I wouldn't agree with it because it's the Constitution and it goes to the Supreme Court, but at least you can make the case, look, I made the case, I tried to follow the Constitution, but they said no, and I felt I had to act.
Yeah.
The second thing I would have done is I would have met, and I don't know whether this has happened or not, but I've seen no evidence of it, and again, this could be secret. The troubling thing to me is there's no good guys in Syria.
No.
So you're now helping ISIS.
Yeah.
By attacking Assad, you're helping ISIS. And it's kind of like, which do you do? Which is the good guy? Is it the ISIS or is it Assad and all the other terrorist groups? Or the quote-unquote, all of a sudden, after what happened over the last 2 years, there's been the moderate Muslims just turning up and no one knows who these are. They're just terrorist groups. And the third thing is, I would have made some type of plan to say, this is the strike. Where if it was just a strike on Thursday night, that's it. Okay, fine. If it's a few attacks, fine, make it out. But now they're talking about regime change. When will America learn that regime change does not end well? Can you show me the fruits of your labor? I know that's a scripture term, but you will know them by the fruits. What is the recent history or long-term history of the last time regime change worked? I'll give you a hint. When was the last successful regime change undertaken by America?
Technically would have been, it would have been the revolution. Correct me if I'm wrong.
World War II.
No.
That was regime change?
Oh, last one. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah.
Last one. Yeah.
And what was the cost of World War II?
Millions.
I don't care about millions. Actual cost. Bodies.
That's what I meant. Millions.
Sorry, yeah.
That's what I meant too. That's millions.
Sorry.
I mean, I don't care about the dollar value either. I mean, that was insane. And that you're talking, was it 80 to 100 million Jews? Just the Jews. That doesn't count the soldiers and the lives that were lost. Pearl Harbor and Normandy and everything else. I mean, it was insanity. And see, now you got me trying to get me all fired up, and we're almost done with this thing, man. How dare you, John? I blame you. It's your fault. No, I'm with you, man. Nobody follows the Constitution anymore. No one gives it a second thought, and unfortunately, that's our problem. And if we expect to get back to where we need to be, then we have to get back to those old principles and stuff again, man. Well, folks, we're glad that you were listening and tuning in to us. We are the Defenders of American Exceptionalism on the Lanterns Radio Network. I'm joined tonight by Jonathan Dunne. We will be coming back for another hour here in about 5 minutes or so. So stay tuned for that. This is going to be a little bit more fun. We're not going to be as depressing. So Tune in. We will be back and see y'all here in a little bit. Bye-bye.